Welcome to today's explainer. We're going to be exploring this absolutely stunning visual metaphor for spiritual renewal. It's this incredibly powerful piece that masterfully illustrates the journey of taking complete, absolute desolation and transforming it into vibrant, radiant life. Now, look, we all go through periods where we just feel drained, right? Maybe it's burnout, a profound sense of feeling lost, or just that lingering emotional exhaustion you can't seem to shake. If you've ever felt like you're walking through a dry season like that in your own life, well, this narrative is going to resonate so deeply with you. Let's get right into it.
But before we can fully appreciate the light, we've kind of got to plunge straight into the reality of that desolate spiritual dry season. The source describes it perfectly. The cracked earth stretches endlessly, symbolizing emptiness and silence. And it's not just a physical landscape, it's this profound symbol for complete internal depletion. You know that feeling where everything around you and sometimes inside you just feels completely barren, silenced, and, well, lifeless? Which brings us to Section 1, the season of emptiness, a barren landscape. Picture this, a wide aerial shot slowly descending over this endlessly cracked earth. The sky above, it's dark, filled with moving clouds and the low, ominous rumble of distant thunder. By using this hushed, contemplative silence, mixed with the subtle threat of an impending storm, it perfectly captures a profound internal void. I mean, think about what a forgotten riverbed actually represents in a person's life. It's a channel that was once full of movement, purpose, vitality, but it's been empty for so long, it's almost forgotten what water even feels like. That deep psychological weight, that is exactly our starting point here. So, the absolutely crucial thing to grasp here is the massive contrast of this entire narrative arc. Starting off, we have this barren, thunderous landscape, but the destination, we are heading straight toward a warm, glowing restoration. This explainer is ultimately a deeply hopeful journey of spiritual renewal. Seeing exactly where we end up, totally immersed in life and radiant energy under a warm sunrise, it just makes the bleakness of the beginning that much more impactful and, honestly, necessary.
Moving into Section 2, the arrival of light, a beacon of hope.
The narrative shifts drastically here. Out of that heavy, oppressive darkness, Jesus appears in the distance, and the visuals are just striking. You have this flowing white robe and a glowing golden halo contrasting so sharply against that dark, stormy sky. It's this remarkably smooth, powerful entry. It introduces a literal beacon of light into the dark, empty scene we just talked about. It's the very first spark of hope, stepping directly into a lifeless place.
Now for Section 3, the flow of transformation, action and renewal. Let's actually break down this miraculous progression step by step because it's fascinating to see how the momentum builds. Step 1, his foot touches the dry, cracked ground. Step 2, that very ground literally begins to glow and transform right on contact. And then Step 3, small streams of water actually begin to flow right where his feet touch. It's this beautiful illustration of how a single step of divine intention creates an immediate life-giving reaction in the absolute most barren of places. And as you might guess, it certainly doesn't stay small for long. The pacing really accelerates here. Those small initial streams rapidly expand. They don't just gently trickle, they surge. They completely turn the dry land into an overwhelming, flowing river of shimmering light and life. The momentum of this renewal builds incredibly fast, just completely sweeping away the heavy stillness that defined the opening. Which leads us to Section 4. A radiant new dawn, the climax of renewal. We've reached the absolute peak of the transformation here. Jesus raises his hand and a radiant wave of divine energy flows outward. Literally, just a simple raised hand unleashes this massive, cascading wave of bright, glowing water across the entirety of what was once a dry, dead riverbed. The sheer scale of the restoration here is breathtaking. It's like it washes away years of emotional and spiritual drought in a single instance. And the results? Total restoration. Those moving clouds, the heavy darkness, the distant thunder, they are completely gone. In their place, the sky clears into this beautiful, warm sunrise. The entire scene shifts from ominous and threatening to profoundly peaceful, and the landscape is suddenly bursting with vibrant life. This perfectly mirrors that psychological feeling of total spiritual restoration. The hopeful journey we promised at the very beginning, it's fully realized right here. Finally, Section 5, the art of renewal. Visual metaphor. Okay, let's pivot slightly because we really need to examine the incredible medium used to convey this story. The visual style itself holds a deeply hidden meaning. The entire piece is rendered in this braided rope or knitted thread sculpture style. It's an ultra-realistic aesthetic where literally everything appears constructed of intertwined fibers. Think about that for a second. This highly unique textural choice acts as a perfect visual metaphor. It represents a broken, frayed spirit being carefully, physically woven back to life and wholeness. And what's also incredibly fascinating about this specific 3D art style is just how computationally heavy it is to render. Generating millions of individual, hyper-realistic digital fibers reacting to light and physics, that takes a staggering amount of processing power. So the sheer effort to create this woven metaphor is a massive labor of love all on its own. And the technical execution is really what sells this emotional journey. You've got ultra-realistic 4K resolution combined with cinematic lighting, ensuring the progression feels incredibly immersive. A key element here is the use of volumetric light rays. If you aren't familiar with that term, volumetric lighting creates what people often call God rays, light that feels so thick and atmospheric you could almost reach out and touch it. It makes the environment feel totally tactile and real. Plus, being presented in a vertical format, it feels intimate and personal. This lighting naturally guides the emotional tone right from despair through to pure inspiration. As we conclude this beautiful visual allegory today, I want you to think about the cracked earth we started with and the shimmering river of life we ended with. What does the warm sunrise of spiritual renewal look like for the dry riverbeds in your own life? I really hope this explainer has sparked some curiosity and genuine hope for your own personal potential for transformation. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey today.